I first want to start today's video by saying that the thumbnail and caption you see are not clickbait or me trying to be clever. It means exactly what it says. As you very well may know, this is a follow-up to a video I covered over 2 years ago, which surrounds the last moments of a woman named Edna Cintron. Now I'll be touching on this confirmation and things that are going on at or around the same time that Edna could be seen waving for help, some of which I touched on in that first video, but with added context and more information. Now when I was making that first video, I could have never imagined that it would have been seen by so many people. I also wasn't aware that so many hadn't known about this information I'll be discussing today, which is kind of a mistake on my part, because not everybody has the ability to visit the Memorial Museum where this information can be found, which is somewhere that I've been visiting for years, where I first learned about it. Now I don't make these videos often, it's only in September that I cover these, and I'm not a professional or expert on the subject. My only goal is to tell someone's true story, and not let it remain a mystery or a theory, especially when the information is accessible. On this channel, the month of September was dedicated to this one event because I wanted to take time to tell you more about these families, about these individuals, people just like you and I, living their day-to-day lives. There are some channels that work very hard and collaborate with others to preserve footage and tell these stories. I don't have any affiliation with those channels, but while researching these stories, I tend to come across them quite often, and I respect what they do a great deal. Those channels will be linked in the description of this video for anyone who wants a more in-depth look at what happened on that morning. Now what you're about to see in this video I've mentioned in comments several times in that original video, but of course not as many people see that because not everybody goes to the comments section. Whether 100 people see this video or 1,000,000 people see it, I just felt that this needed to be addressed because it seems it was never a question of if this was Edna, it was more a question of what information led to her name being linked to these videos and photos. It seems that there was more that led to this conclusion than we know. Many other ways that they made different types of identifications. Finally, I want to say thank you to those who personally knew Edna and reached out to me after my first video. Those who shared memories and even photos of happier times. I truly appreciate that. Now let's get into where this confirmation can be found. The Memorial Museum where the towers once stood has several sections dedicated to all the lives lost on September 11th, 2001. You'll also find a history of the towers themselves, back when they stood tall. Symbols of the Big Apple from a different time. You'll find items that were recovered from the rubble after all the destruction, with every single piece telling their own story. The confirmation in question is located inside of the September 11, 2001 historical exhibition, where no photos or videos are allowed. The footage you're looking at is from the grand opening, which was one of the only times that cameras were allowed inside. Pretty much at the beginning of this section, as you make a left past the several items recovered from the rubble, right by the many monitors replaying the events of that morning as they unfolded, you'll come across this image, blown up on this huge canvas on the wall. It's a photograph that's been seen by millions since it was originally made public. It shows a woman standing on the damaged portion of the impact zone in the North Tower, holding on as she stands literally at the center of all the chaos. But the information definitively tying this photo to Edna Cintron can only be found in this room, and it's located on a plaque right beneath the canvas. It says the following. The hijacker piloting Flight 11 intentionally crashed the airplane into the north face of the North Tower, tearing a gash from the 93rd to the 99th floors. Photographer Roberto Raban, en route to a fashion shoot in Lower Manhattan, instead made his way to a rooftop several blocks away from the World Trade Center and began documenting the disaster. Through his camera lens, he saw people at windows and near the edges of the impact zone. One was later identified as Edna Cintron, the woman wearing white pants and a blue blouse, visible near the center of this photograph. Now most might have already heard that Edna's husband, William Cintron, was said to have stated that he believed this was Edna because of the clothes she was wearing that morning, but it's perfectly possible that this was confirmed much later on, maybe long after, in different ways. For example, an NYPD helicopter pilot who circled the North Tower after the buildings were hit described being so close that they could see the pebbles on the roof. They were looking for people to rescue, but there was no one up there. The pilot also described seeing the faces in the windows as people were stacked up on top of each other. He was able to see the expressions on their faces. He even described seeing people in the hull standing on the damaged part of the building, just like Edna. That same pilot and co-pilot were also shooting video the entire time. It's possible that faces were clearly shown in other videos, but reserved for family to review, kept private due to the sensitive nature of the photos or video, which is perfectly understandable. There are also likely countless photos out there that just haven't been made public. In fact, In 2027, over 1,000 hours of footage from that morning and the weeks that followed is expected to be made available to the public for the first time ever. Who knows what else is out there? When it comes to Edna specifically, there are also many videos out there where she could be seen waving and holding on. The information found under this canvas makes no mention of how they made this confirmation. It also makes no mention of Edna Cintron's comments about what she was wearing that morning being the reason they came to this conclusion. Chances are that photos and videos from that morning are what helped them make this confirmation. One of the most shocking parts about viewing the footage, which includes Edna, is the fact that she isn't alone, as there are several people around her. Someone seen here also waving, and movement here, which also seems to be someone waving from deeper in the rubble. Before this guy made it here, he could be seen tripping and falling through the rubble up top, trying to make his way down, likely having no idea what just happened. I ultra-stabilized this footage to keep focus on the man as he crawls his way down. Many still refuse to accept that there was anyone who made the decision to leap that morning, even if it's clear that they did. Not everybody fell out, like in this video here. Many might know this footage, which shows one of the men who scaled the building. But what many don't notice is that as this footage pans out, you can clearly see a man sitting on the edge of the window. He then lowers himself and uses his legs to push off the window, going off the building. In this clip that I touched on in my original video about Edna, many felt this man was brought down from the debris coming from above him. When you see this exact clip play out from a different angle, it looks like the debris goes past him and he goes after. In the full video, it also looks like he looks down and inside the office several times before dropping. These two clips are the exact same thing happening, but from two different angles, happening at the exact same time. Now, just from reviewing the footage, it's clear that conditions inside were just unbearable. And what makes that clear to me is the fact that two others do the exact same thing right after him, and falling debris can't be blamed for these. They were all coming from the same offices, and this is all happening seconds apart from each other. It's very clear that they just felt they had no other choice. The conditions inside were just horrific. Of course, this is not something that anyone would ever want to do, but what was happening inside of the building, the stuff that we could never see, is what made many feel like they had no other options. Whether it was the people who stood in the impact zone, those who stood in the windows, or those who decided to take matters into their own hands because they felt they had no other choice, the decisions took an incredible amount of courage. I can't even fathom having to make such a decision. At the end of it all, I just respect the massive amounts of work and respect put into the Memorial Museum. The process to identify those lost is no easy task. These are many people, experts in their field, that have to work extremely hard to make these confirmations. To confirm even the color of Edna's sweater seems very specific. Most thought it was either a dark top or just black. It wasn't until seeing this that I found out that it was a blue top she wore. Many will find their own ways to refute this confirmation, regardless of who or where it comes from. But for me, it's always been very simple. An immense amount of work goes into identifying those lost, to bringing these families closure and providing a path to healing, a process still ongoing today. I have a huge amount of respect for these photographers whose images tell the most vivid stories, those who captured detailed footage, the images that will forever stay with us and that make it possible to confirm identities. Snapshots of history. If they said the waving woman was confirmed as Edna Cintron, and they said it with such certainty, it was for a reason. I'm choosing to trust the experts that devoted much of their careers to this event. For anyone who has doubts about that image in the museum and the confirmation written below it, if it's possible for you, please do see for yourself. It's there. It's always been there, since the very day that the museum opened its doors back in 2014. Thank you to those who captured history through their lenses. Thank you to the Medical Examiner's Office of New York and the 9/11 Museum for what they've done and continue to do. They've made a commitment to these families, one that is just as strong today as it was when they first started. Countless families are forever thankful. No matter what some may feel or say, it will never change that this confirmation was made. Rest in peace to the waving woman, Edna Cintron, who held on to the very end. You aren't forgotten.